Everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, and this is one of those days where I'm feeling so happy that I have this show because I'm talking to Dan Dorninger. He is the guitarist, singer, and primary songwriter for one of my favorite bands out of Austria called Witchrider. These guys are great. If you like any kind of psychedelic rock, blues, stoner rock, and Dan's arrangements are phenomenal. He's really good with synths and adding in a lot of sounds and layering, and he does a great job as a songwriter. So this is going to be a good interview. Quick background on Dan. He started writing songs at an early age. He started his first band at 16. He spent loads of time playing in bands and practicing during his teenage years, of course. Started Witchrider, and it's Witchrider in 2012. The band combines stoner rock with great songwriting and some electronica, lots of blues-based fuzzy guitar, great synths and drums, as I mentioned. They've released 2 full-length albums, and they are big records, 11 or 12 tracks each, an EP, as well as a number of singles and splits with other bands like Ultima Radio, and I had Julian Jock on the show from that band, and of course Truckfighters, and Nicholas Colgren, Dango, Mr. Dango, has been on here a couple of times. I highly recommend you listening to Witchrider's 2 albums. They're called Unmountable Stairs and Electrical Storm. Both of them are in my regular frequent rotation. Awesome songwriting, great guitar playing, and Dan really knows how to create good emotional lifts in his songs. So, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for the invite. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Did you just pronounce Ultima Radio in a German way?
I spent an hour with Julian, so
because I know it was their idea to have their name in German, because there's the Ultima Ratio, I think it's called, which I'm not sure what it is, but it exists,
right? And
it's somehow related to that. But everyone I know says Ultima Radio. But you're the first one, and it's the funniest thing because you're an American. You're the first one pronouncing it Ultima Radio.
Well, it's just because when I have people from other countries, I try to respect, their culture, their language. So if I could, I always ask, hey, how do you pronounce it? And they say it, and I don't always get it right, but this one was within my...
I thought it was great.
Well, thank you, man. That's the extent of my German. There you go.
Yeah, amazing.
And speaking of language, man, I know you were born here. We'll talk about that, but your English is phenomenal. You speak better than most people here in America. So there you go.
Sure.
Right back at you.
Sure. Thanks, dude.
All right. So you're born in Illinois, and then at age 6, your family moved back to Austria, which is where your parents were originally from. What prompted that move, and do you remember anything about it at that time as far as like adjustments or, changes or things that were new?
Well, I grew up with having both languages present, German from my parents speaking at home, and then English from everyone else, really. So I started off with just speaking English also, actually, but understanding some German when my parents talked to me. And then I remember, like, the first time we visited Austria was with my dad, and then we were visiting like a place they wanted to rent once they moved back to Austria from the US. And there I met some kids my age that were all Austrian kids, and they only spoke German all the time, and that was kind of weird and overwhelming. I remember, but I kind of got used to fitting in, not really with a language kind of thing, but as a kid you have the same interest and the same things going on, like this urge to destroy stuff and the urge to, I don't know, this and that, and then there's other kinds of languages you have that you can connect with then. And so that's what I did, I think, in the first years when we moved to Austria. But then I got really used to the German language, especially the Austrian Styrian version of German lange, which is Steirisch, it's called.
And that's just a little bit. Some of the words are different.
Yeah, there's more words. There's new words. There's a lot of very creative curse words, especially, as in any language, I guess. But in general, it's the same. It's the same language, just pronounced very differently. Very differently. kind of differently. Like in Austria, we understand the German people, but the other way around, when we go to Germany, they don't understand us.
Oh,
which is a win-win situation really for Austrians. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, I guess the early changes were really not so much maybe culture stuff, but the language. But yeah, it was okay. It was fine. It got more difficult in school when they had this very strict. You have to say it like this, and you have your pronouns, like the German pronouns. You know, in the US it's the or the.
Right.
And then in German you have die, der, das, dessen, der, bleh. A lot of different pronouns, and that was the hardest thing to learn as an
Are they like
foreigner.
based on gender and singular or plural stuff like that?
Sure they are.
Right. It's the same.
But you don't
like in
have
Spanish.
any genders in English really. So
No. I took Spanish as a kid. It's the same in Spanish.
yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, it was
All right.
like, you know, made up stuff. Like, why is this now? Why is this masculine? Why is this feminine? Why? It didn't make sense. And then after a while, when you hear it every day, it kind of, you know, gets in there, and then it's automated like that. It's fine. I know it now.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't think it's really learnable. It's like a thing that just. It's like learning something by heart, really. But eventually it gets in there and it gets stuck, and then it's part of you, and then it's fine. And then it's, yeah. But it was weird. I remember it being super weird. The pronoun thing. Yeah.
Is English spoken as frequently in Austria as it is in Germany? At least from what I hear, most younger people do speak English in Germany.
Yeah, it is in Austria. I guess the same kind of the same amount as in Germany. Yeah.
Okay.
Like especially in universities and higher schools and businesses, you speak English all the time.
Right.
Because of the whole, you know, culture clash thing and everything. It's like the English language is the language everyone seems to agree on there.
Yeah. And it's a hard language to convert to, actually, from other languages.
I think it's, yeah. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased there. But
well, you had a head start.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to learn, really. Like the pronoun thing is fine in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't get any better than that.
This is true. So you grew up in, and let's see if I get this correct, Weiz in Austria. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's how I pronounce it, yeah.
Okay. So if Wikipedia is correct, that's a really small town, but it's only 30 miles northeast of Graz, which is the second largest city over there. What was your childhood like growing up in Weiz?
I don't remember living in bigger towns, really, because I was born in Illinois, but then we lived most of my life in the U.S., in my U.S. life, in Detroit, actually. That was kind of I mean, I was small as well, so maybe I remember it as small, but Weiz didn't seem smaller to me than any other place I've been before that, really. So, yeah, same thing, you know, finding friends, doing fun stuff, going to school. I guess when you get older, it becomes more apparent how big places are and what opportunities you have there. But as a kid, it, you know, doesn't really matter. You have a very narrow perspective of things anyway, and yeah. But it was fine fulfilling the kids' needs with friends and free time and running around outside and in forests and stuff.
That's cool.
Because Austria and also Weiz has a lot of nature still, like on the outsides of Weiz, a lot of forests and endless possibilities to get lost.
I think that's great when you're a kid and you could do that. I grew up in New York City in the Bronx, and there was no forest there, very little grass.
Yeah, I don't.
And I appreciate that now. I appreciate that now.
Where are you now?
Tampa, Florida, on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah. Cool.
Beautiful weather, nice grass.
Yeah.
Everything's green. So this was interesting. You were into basketball. You don't have a lot of musicians that are like really sports people, but you were into basketball, and then you started on drums and switched to guitar. What prompted you to switch from sports to music? Like, I was wondering, were your parents musical or? Yeah,
no, I'm kind of the first person in my family who is musical, I think. I think my parents, when I was a kid, I was very like hyperactive and just, making constant noises and fiddling around with everything I could find, and making trouble and stuff. And I think they just wanted to keep me occupied, kind of, with activities like sports or music or painting and art or whatever. And basketball at the time seemed like a good what do you call it in English?
Hobby.
Yeah, but a way to get the whole hyperactivity and this whole stress thing in me out. It was a good way to even out a little bit on the inside.
Yeah.
The drums, I actually had lessons before I started with the sport thing, but I was really good in basketball, which is why I stayed with that. Connecting with friends, finding new friends, having a good time. And then eventually when I got like 16 or something like that, I found my interest in music, and I started to listen to a lot of music while I was playing basketball. Like in the beginning was mostly hip hop, and Eminem was just coming up back then. It was just getting famous. And then from there, my sister, I think I was 16, my sister got a guitar for Christmas because she always wanted to try a little guitar playing. And then really she didn't use it once, and it was just laying around in a room. And then once I walked in there and took it out and just out of boredom, just tried playing around and touching the neck here and there and seeing what happens. And then suddenly I got stuck on the beginning chord of Chili Peppers, By the Way. This ding 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 ding. And then I was so amazed that it was so easy, and I thought, whoa, I can do that, I think. And then I started taking guitar lessons, and then I got into, Chili Peppers, Nirvana, and Green Day, and all this kind of famous grunge and rock bands from 90s and 2000s, like also Silverchair and Bush and yeah, those kind of things. Yeah, that's how I got there, I think.
You're, as far as writing songs, I know you started doing that at a young age. Like I said earlier on, you're a really talented songwriter. Did you have any formal training either in writing or in playing or music theory, or are you 100% just self-taught?
Yeah, no, I had some guitar lessons when I was 16 where they showed me how to play the C chord and the G chord and stuff. So that's my music foundation, really. That's amazing, man. That's and then the rest is kind of listening to bands, and then I want to do this, and I like the emotional change that it there, and then it's like it becomes an urge where you really have to find out how they did this thing you really liked in that music, and then you kind of go from there to there, and then listen to the next band, and you try to find out what they did there, and it's just But then every time you find out, it's more of it's something you have now in your abilities to do, and then it kind of starts stacking up really on and that's how I learned to do music. That's great, man. I know also before you started Witchrider, you had just gone through a period of listening to a lot of electronica and shoegaze. How did that influence you? Because it's not that common for and again I use the term stoner rock band to incorporate synths, especially to the extent that you do, and as layered and great arrangements that you do. How did that come about? Was that through listening to all this electronica and you just said, hey, I like it, I want to incorporate it? Or yeah, in 2000 something, I think 2010-ish somewhere, I met, or maybe 2009, I met Michael, who is also a part of Witchrider as well. He's now playing the bass in Witchrider. Mm-hmm. And back then I just started playing around with electronic music software on computer. Like back then it was Reason 4, I think, or something. and it was like very, very easy to come by and to learn and to try out new sounds and plug in a MIDI keyboard and just fiddle around with stuff. And all these super easy go-to possibilities there, because I didn't need an amp anymore and effect pedals and stuff and all the things that I don't have. But I had this computer and the MIDI keyboard, and it sounded amazing with the reverb and stuff on it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is great. And then I just, I got sucked into this whole possibility thing. And back then it was mostly drum and bass and the more popular music at that time. But a lot of the synthesizer, especially foundation thing with how synthesizers work and how the filters sound when you put sounds through it with distortions and everything, that very much stuck with me. And I still love to make like this dirty ambience or bass sounds, or the sirens that kind of, just fly over chord progressions for choruses and stuff like that. And also heavy delay effects, obviously. But this, it's just something that you can put into the rock music that gives it more depth and more texture and more interesting things that other instruments just wouldn't do, like guitars, or a bass, or
Your Witchrider's music is very textural, man. I really like that about it. What were some of the challenges maybe early on once Witchrider was formed, getting some momentum?
What do you mean by changes?
I'm sorry, challenges. What were some of the challenges early on to get that, to grow the band and get gigs and stuff like that? Get record deals?
I guess the same challenges that every band has in the beginning. It's how do I show people what we're doing? How do I show them that it's great, that it's awesome music? And it's been definitely a challenge, but we were lucky with Niklas from Truckfighters contacting us at a very early stage in Witchrider. We just released 3 singles or something, or 2 singles, and we had it on SoundCloud, I think, and we played 1 or 2 shows in Graz, and that was pretty much it. And then Niklas from Truckfighters contacted us, and he was like, "Ooh, I like the song, it sounded great. Would you be interested in joining Fuzzorama?" And they had just started the Fuzzorama thing with, I think, 2 or 3 bands on it. Valley of the Sun were on it. The other ones, I'm not sure. But I remember Valley of the Sun being on it back then. But it was just a handful of bands, really. And then they played in Vienna, and coincidentally, we had tickets for the show because we wanted to watch them anyway. And so we met up and had a talk, and it was great.
Very cool. Also, I forgot to thank Nicholas in the beginning. He was the one who hooked us up, so thanks, Nicholas. I appreciate that.
Yeah, shout out to Nicholas.
Shout out to Dango, yes. But I want to ask you about some of my favorite Witchrider songs.
Mm-hmm.
Black, is that like the universal favorite song?
I guess it is, yeah.
It's a great song.
Yes, it is.
Dude, it's a great song. It's such a good song. But
there was a point back then, I think it was 2000 and, let me think. Not sure if it was 15 or 14 or something like that. When Jimmy Pop from the Bloodhound Gang posted Black on Twitter, I think. And we don't use Twitter, so we never saw it. And then someone forwarded it to us, and he was like, "Oh my God, Jimmy Pop just posted Black." And we were super stoked at that time. And interestingly, Black became like with a lot of distance the most popular song from Witchrider, and it was the first song we ever made, actually. Also,
first song you wrote for the band, first song on the first record. I mean, that's so cool.
It's the first of the first.
I know and it's it's such a good track. What is that song about? If it's about anything.
It's really hard to say, because back then, it was just, we didn't have one thought in the world that anyone would listen to any of the music anyway, because it was, just a few friends sitting in a super small bedroom with a small interface where we plug our guitar into, and then we just, bing, bing, wee, 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 fiddle around with melodies and try to make it sound cool. That's really all it was about, kind of. And then we started with the music and the melody, and we made the song with you could say vocal melodies and vocal lines, but the lyrics were still random stuff. Like when I write songs, I always sing to it, but I don't really use reasonable sentences. It's just random words. Like in German,
filler.
It's called laut. Filler. Let's call it. Yeah. In German, it's called lautmalerisch. It's just it's not exactly nonsense, but very, very close to. It's just whatever pops into my mind, but it's basically just about the melody there. So we had the music and the melody, and after that we started to, the song gives you already a very strong emotions, I think, and it has a very strong emotional response to a lot of people, is why they like it so much. So we tried to grasp this emotional context that we had going there and try to fit in the words to make it sound, or make it even more powerful, especially to people that like reading lyrics and listening to lyrics and words, especially, which I am not the person to do.
Right. It had to feel good. The first song you wrote, you kind of hit a home run.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's good for you, man.
It did.
Another song, SP, from the Unmovable Stairs record. I love that track. Really gets you pumped
Unmountable
up.
Stairs.
Unmountable. Why do I call them unmountable stairs? That is like I've never seen that word, unmountable.
Yeah. No, in the beginning, it was actually, the album name is named after one of the songs, Unmountable Stairs, right?
Yes.
And the song was originally called and sang by me with Uncapable Stairs. So it was always Uncapable Stairs, only in my mind. And then it was like, Uncapable Stairs, it doesn't make any sense at all. What the fuck is Uncapable Stairs? Like, aren't you capable to be stairs, or what's going on here? And then Unmountable Stairs was like more of could be the meaning of not being able to reach to the top of the stairs, like in a metaphorical sense of reaching a goal, right? Yeah. So we use that.
That's cool. I've never heard that word in a musical context ever. I don't think. Unmountable.
Yeah. Not even sure it's a real thing you would use anyway. But it's we couldn't change it that much anymore. Once you're stuck with uncapable, it's like unable. So we had to find something to fit in there. It was unmountable. Okay, let's do that.
What does SP stand for?
It's the first time that someone asks me that, because back then the song we couldn't find a name to the song, really. So we wouldn't find a title. We couldn't find like a really good word to describe the song and to be seen as the title of the song. So we called it SP, and then we told Truckfighters that SP stands for space, because we had to sign like a agreement there that there's no hidden curse word, hurtful stuff in abbreviations and stuff.
That's
interesting. You have to sign that before giving over the title list, right? Yeah. So they wanted to know what does SP mean? So we told them it means space. Really, it means, and it's way less interesting actually. Really, it means Schwanzpeter, and Schwanz, and then the first letter being S, and Peter, the second one being P. And why we called it Schwanzpeter was because Hans-Peter, HP from Witchrider, back then the guitarist, he had a very, very big influence on this song and a lot of the musical texture and the changes and the guitars and everything. And then we wanted to call it, we couldn't come up with a name, so we wanted to call it maybe Hans-Peter, and then that's too no idea at all. Let's call it Schwanzpeter, which is like a... Yeah, you could translate it into Schwanz would be like a
like
word for
dick or
penis.
something.
Yeah. So it would be
right.
Dick Peter. So it was
So it was like a funny thing that you right. So it was like an
it's a
inside
funny thing,
joke.
and then once
yeah.
we had to sign it, we just said it's called Space, and then it's like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, but it's not offensive. I mean, it's not.
No, it's not.
You're
No,
within
it's
the
not.
agreements. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Maybe
That's
we were a little
interesting.
too chickeny. I don't know.
No, it's fine. I think I like the mystery of something like that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
people might not have taken it seriously if you called it that, at first, without giving it a listen. You
Yeah,
never
maybe.
know.
Maybe.
And then I love "Come Back" from Electrical Storm. I thought that track really rocks. Tell me about that one.
That's also a song that's very heavily influenced by HP. I think you're a fan of HP, especially here.
Well, yeah, must be.
I remember the demo when I made it. It was called. Let me rewind. Now it's "Come Back," right? Before it was "Stay Back." I can't remember actually what it was called before. But it was one of those situations, and HP is very, very good at that. Is reading the emotional content of the music of a song, and then finding appropriate words to fit to that emotional response that people might get most likely when listening to the song. And he was really good in finding the right words to just give the whole music a little more power, a little more depth and meaning, right?
Yeah.
And he did a lot and a great job, especially at Comeback, where he did a lot of the lyric writing himself, especially.
Great song, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about HP. You've primarily played rhythm guitar, and he was primarily lead.
Yes.
But he left a short while ago, and you guys decided to go on as a trio. I was curious. You haven't played shows very much in the last 2 years, but what kind of adjustments have you had to make, particularly when you're playing live?
Yeah, no, we didn't go on as a trio. In the beginning we were 4, and then we were 5 actually, because we had another guy join us on the drums, Bernhard Sorga.
Okay.
He's a really, really, really good drummer. And Michael, who played the drums before, switched to synthesizer textures and that kind of stuff in the ambience. And once HP left the band, Michael switched to the bass, and Bernhard, who played the bass, switched to the lead guitar, and I just stayed where I was, and the drummer stayed where he was as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
so it's the changes aren't as big as you might expect. The biggest changes, of course, being Bernhard on the lead guitar. But he's doing a really good job at bringing across this super heavy solos and that kind of stuff. He's really, really good at that. There's I was super surprised with the first rehearsals, and when we tried out a few songs, and then HB was really good at having this super delay, noisy, mega solo things going on, and Bernhard as well has an amazing lead sound when he really gets into this guitar stuff, and it was great. It's been great ever since, actually. Yeah,
that's great. He must be really talented to be a stud on bass and then to come and play lead guitar.
He had a couple of bands
guy.
where he played either bass or guitar, so he's really good at both.
That's awesome, man.
Which is awesome, yeah.
What were some of the low points or dark periods you've had to deal with in life, and how'd you get through them?
Yeah, well, there were especially the COVID time. Like in the beginning, I thought the COVID thing was kind of awesome. Really, this whole you had to stay at home, and you had to you weren't allowed really to go outside to go to work or to have social activities and stuff. So I was basically doing what I was doing before, but now it was more of a now you have to do it. So it's like, it's easy for me, I can do it. And the first year was kind of awesome like that. And then it I don't know, it became a little too much, I think. It was too much distance and too much absence, and I started feeling more empty than before. Like losing the meaning of doing what I'm doing here, and you know, there was no live gigs and anything going on, so there was no real way to connect with audiences or connect with other people in a musical sense. And we were working on Electrical Storm still, and we started in, I don't know, 2016 or 17 or something. We started with Electrical Storm with the recordings, and it just, you know, it took on forever. And then we had some changes in the guitar structure that we wanted to redo, and we had some changes here and there. And then the whole distance between people was just, it became too much. It was a little, yeah, hard to see the upsides on what we were doing here.
Yeah.
Also personally, same thing really. The whole distance with people, I think it was mostly just silently and slowly kind of snuck in there and just made everything a little darker day by day. And it didn't really notice in the beginning, but it just, once it was really there and really dark, it was becoming noticeable. But once it got a little better and stuff opened up, and especially from a band's perspective, we had a few shows in 2021 in October, I think. There was like this little window of no restrictions and where bands could play live. And then we used that window to play 3 gigs in a row in Austria, because, you know, moving to other countries was still, forget it. And that was amazing. Like, you could feel that also, not just how much we missed being somewhere and just, you know, making loud noise and playing music, but also how much people missed watching bands standing on stage and just doing their stuff. And we had like a shitload of responses after the concert, and yeah, it's been great. Like, live shows, you can feel, and that's one of the good things, kind of, you can feel how much it means now to people to be able to watch live concerts. And it was kind of falling apart a little and disappearing in this time of restrictions.
Over here, I think people are still suffering. Like, it seems like a lot of people's coping skills have not come back because of the intense pressure of isolation and not working, money, blah, 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 politics, all the shit.
Yeah.
How is the mood? And I'm not looking for a political discussion or anything, but how is the mood? Like, is it the same in Austria? Or people just having a hard time getting by and coping? Like, and, you know, crime rate is off the charts here. I mean, it's just pretty depressing to be here right now.
Yeah, crime rate, I think, is not too bad in Austria, but what is bad is the war going over in Russia and Ukraine, and the whole, not that that's not bad enough already, but the whole situation with electricity and heating. I mean, we don't need heating in the summer, but we will eventually.
Yeah,
it's gotten super expensive. Like the price has tripled here for basic electricity or heating. And right now it's still okay because it's super hot outside. But once it gets colder, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad
because people can't afford to heat their houses up.
Yeah, the inflation
or their
is.
apartments.
I mean, I think the inflation is the same in the US, really, or
it's
similar
pretty high
still.
Yeah.
And in Austria or in Europe, it's also really high. And I think the US started with putting up interest rates already to kind of push against the inflation, which we couldn't do in Europe yet, because otherwise we would put the poorer countries like Greece and Italy especially in a bad situation. So yeah, we're in a bad situation.
So it's a shit show over there, just the same as it is.
Yeah, it's not great. No, it's not great.
That's
politically as well. It's not great.
Yeah, people are like about to explode here. You could just see some people are, you know, just normal common courtesy is like completely absent. It's like everybody's angry, and it's just, I see this on the road, and like people are just pissed off, and then I don't know what it's like over there. The other thing is, I work out of the house, and so I'm not on the road very often. But when I go out, man, everybody's on their phone while they're on the highway driving, like literally like on their phone, and I'm like, holy shit, how is not everybody getting killed here? It's really a weird thing. Because people are so not present, it's really kind of a screw up.
Yeah. And I think, or I hope to think, that the phone in car situation isn't as bad. Maybe it is, I don't know. But the phone is omnipresent. Yeah, it's everywhere, obviously.
Yeah.
Social media and stuff, it's the same as over at yours. It's not very different.
I hate that. Not to sound like an old person. I was talking to my wife last night, and they had some report. She was looking at something on Facebook, funny enough, and it was about people using their phones. And I said, when I have 3 kids, my oldest is almost your age, but everybody was like, "Hey, man, get the camera, the film camera," and I never did it because I always felt like, well, if I'm busy filming you guys, I'm not going to be here. And so I never. So we don't have a lot of film footage, a lot of pictures, and I was so glad now in retrospect I did that because I have all these great memories of doing X, Y, and Z with each different kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a
I get
weird
that.
thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It's just,
all right. No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
But I don't have kids myself. I have cats, which I love to.
And they're so much easier. Obviously. I have those too.
Yeah. Obviously, it's so much easier. But when I'm on like live concerts or making music with colleagues and friends somewhere, I also tend to never make a picture or a video or anything because I'm just, I don't know, I'm already sucked into the moment. I don't really want to get out and make like a check this out.
Yeah, and then you start thinking about.
Sometimes
other people
maybe
sometimes look at this?
Maybe sometimes in the beginning I make a picture like this is the stage, and then at the end I'm like, this was awesome.
Yeah.
But in between it's like I don't really find the time also to it's I don't know. I'm not here to make videos. I'm here to suck it in. Right?
Yeah. And you can't do 2 things at once. It's as simple as that. One of them is going to suffer.
Yeah.
That's just the reality.
I think that's true.
Tell me 2 or 3 best concerts you've seen.
2 or 3 best concerts. Well, I remember Queens of the Stone Age back when they released Lullabies to Paralyze. What was it called? That Lullabies to Paralyze.
It's close to that. It's great record.
It's close to that anyway. Everyone will know what I mean. And when they played that record live back then, they were just they had the whole stage fogged up with haze, and it was just a few lights from the back of them, and you just had like this black silhouettes walking around on stage, and this super awesome guitar sounds that Josh and the other guys were doing back then, and I was just blown away when I heard it the first time, and it was at Nova Rock. It was called. It's like a festival here in Austria, and I think it was like 2005. No, wait. No, it's a little later. Maybe 7. Something like that. 2007, 8, maybe something like that. And I was just, man, I was blown away when I saw that and heard, especially when I heard that. I didn't know the Queens of Stone Age by that time, but I was just walking around between stages, really, at the festival. And then I just heard they were starting with Someone's in the Wolf. I think it's called like this. And I was just, man, this is awesome. And that totally sucked me in.
It's Lullabies to Paralyze. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Lullabies to Paralyze, yeah.
It's great.
It was
record.
amazing. I loved that. And another one. Ooh, Pendulum. I don't know if you know Pendulum.
I've heard of them. I don't know them.
It's a drum and bass band from Australia, I think, originally, and then they moved to the UK, and then it became famous, and then they turned to Knife Party also, kind of, at least. But back then, Pendulum was one of the biggest drum and bass bands, and they played most of the stuff live with a lot of, samples and triggering and stuff and like that to make it electronically sound powerful.
Sure.
And this was fantastic live. It was so much bass and so much power. It's like, blew me away. I was a little disappointed when I watched The Prodigy, which is one of my favorite bands ever. The Prodigy is like this electropunk band from the UK. And they do a lot of playback stuff, which is, it sounds fine, but when you look at them doing it, it's just, you can see that the drummer's not really doing what you're hearing, and the guitarist is not really doing what you're hearing. And that's always a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a turnoff, yeah.
Yeah, and I had so high expectations of the Prodigy live, and it was just, even though I still love him, it was just a little, it wasn't as great as Pendulum, and Pendulum was fantastic.
I'm gonna have to.
So
check
I guess
them out.
it's
where
Pendulum.
Where was that show?
Also in Austria. I saw Pendulum in Vienna in a club concert, and then again at a festival, same festival where also Prodigy played, so I could really compare them, kind of, which wasn't fair.
Guitar wise, I see you playing your Rickenbacker a lot. Is that like your number one?
No, I used it for a period of time a lot, but now and since I got it, I'm using the Telecaster.
Tele?
You can see there. Yeah, Fender Telecaster. It's a thin line made in Japan, 1980, I think it's.
Oh, dude, those guitars, those Fenders from Japan from the 80s and 90s.
This thing weighs nothing. Great. It's the lightest guitar ever, because so I'm not a. Ever since I turned to music, I'm not a super sporty guy anymore. I'm getting very sloppy on my trainings and stuff. and heavy guitars, man, after an hour of live concert or rehearsing, it hurts. It really hurts.
It's heavy, man.
I'm sorry to be such a weakling, but these guitars, man, these have like 2 kilos or 2.5 kilos or something, and it's basically nothing when you're. And they sound amazing. It's. I couldn't be happier. That guitar is.
What's number 2? Is your Rick number 2 or?
My number 2 is like a fight between my other Fender Telecaster I have. It's the
fight.
It's the Marilyn Manson John of 5 custom with the 3 humbucker thing. Yep. But it's heavy as shit, and what I still use is my my semi-acoustic guitar I played for a long time, especially in the beginning of Witchrider. You can see it all over the place. It's fuck man, what's it called? Hagström.
Oh, it's a Hagström. Yeah. Yeah, it's like my 335.
Viking Rex Tone, I think it's called. Yeah, it's like a 305, but the Viking Rex Tone has like 2 toggle switches. One is for the pickups, and the other one is like an EQ thing where you can passively turn down the highs, and then also the highs and the mids to just have like a bass thing.
Oh, that's
for blues purposes, really. Like if you want to have extended, crunchy bass thing going through your overdrive pedal, it's a nice thing to do. You don't really notice it live, but on recordings, you do.
Yeah, Hagström's not that popular over here, and most of the people I've spoken to that play Hagström are in Europe, funny enough.
Yeah, I think Hagström is from Sweden, right? So
I believe so.
It makes sense. I mean, Hagström isn't super present or popular in Austria as well, but they do exist. But they're great guitars. It's super stuff for not. Yeah, I wouldn't say for a fraction of the price from the original. If we would have the Viking, the 305, but it's great for the price. Awesome, really cool.
That's what everybody tells me. On your guitar, or maybe it's on Michael's guitar. What is do you know the primary? What do you do to create the fuzz tone? Because your fuzz always sounds great. I always ask the stoner rock guys, like, how do you create your fuzz? And it's,
yeah.
And it's your hands, but it's always interesting to know.
It's a lot of pedals actually. It's not only the hands.
Okay.
Not in our case, at least. Let's say it like that. No, we have on our records we have a whole lot of different fuzz pedals going on. but mostly it's a pharaoh from what they're called, Tone Works or something, or Black Arts. I think they're called Black Arts, and the pedal is called Pharaoh, and it's a fuzz pedal.
P-H-A-R-O-A-H?
P-H-A-R-A-O-H.
Yeah.
I think. It's like a golden looking squarish pedal thing. It has, the cool thing about it, it has both silicium transistor in there, as well as a germanium.
Germanium, they call it here.
Germanium transistor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can switch in between those if you want to have, the squishy silicon thing, or the nice opened mid-rangey germanium. And you can have this middle position thing where you have both of the transistors fighting against each other. And this is the brilliant sound. This is like, it's like a little gated, so you don't have a lot of back noise, but it's, once you play it, it's super fuzzy and super doomy also, kind of. You have to clean it up a little bit with the EQ it has on top of it. That's one of a very, very prominent sound that I use especially, and also the Zevex Mastertron, which is like the easier Fuzz Factory kind of. I mean, the Fuzz Factory is germanium, and the Mastertron is not, it's silicium. But you can do like this heavily gated, almost chopped off fuzz sounds that are very small sounding and very nasal kind of. That's also always on every record, I think, that pedal. That's also my first fuzz pedal that I got for my birthday, I think, back then.
I'm gonna check out that Pharaoh. It sounds pretty interesting.
Pharaoh is awesome. You should check that one out. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to.
The Mastertron. Yeah, and then it's, this and that. We have big muffs here. We have.
That's what I have.
Fuzz Gods. Michael and I started to make our own fuzz pedal, actually. In the beginning, it was called the Flexi Fuzz, because we wanted to have like this little plug-in points on the outside of the pedal where you can try in different transistors. Like you could have 2 germaniums in there, or 2 silicons in there, or you can try out different germaniums and combinations of different ones, right? And so you would have a lot of possibilities with the pedal. But we haven't finished it yet. but
it's hard to.
The idea. It's
hard
always
to finish something like, it's like a work in progress kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think it's great. I think it's a good idea, and once we finish it, it's gonna be a cool pedal to have.
I think it's gonna be
experiment with.
I think it'll be great. You know why? Because everybody, you don't find people that have one fuzz pedal.
Yeah, no.
So this kind of gives you the options of having a bunch of them.
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty cool idea, man.
Cheaper variation kind of thing where you can just get transistors and then try it out how they sound.
Yeah.
Or transistors from old old stereos you have lying back in your basement from your grandfather or something, and just get them out and put them in there and see how they sound like.
That is cool, man.
There's a lot of cool possibilities.
Do you have a favorite song that you wrote?
Well, at the time, whenever I write a song, at that time, it's my most favorite ever song. And once it's done, it kind of turns down. And then once you start recording it for an album or something, you have to listen to it like a shitload of times. And then you have changes here, and you have to do this again. And then the first mixes suck, and then you have to change here and there a little bit. And once it's done, it's hard to say which ones are the favorite. But from Electrical Storm, at least, I really, really still love listening to. I like the whole thing going on, Keep Me Out of It, and The Weatherman. They're more of the slower, more mellow, darker songs, but I still enjoy this very slow, darkish vibe thing going on there. It's still nice to feel that when listening to it.
Let me ask you a question about one of the songs on there. You have a song on there called First You Break.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks, I can't get it anymore. Did you pull it off the record or something?
What? Where?
Well, it doesn't, it's not on Apple. Maybe I have to go back and look at it, because it's there, but it's faded out. But I've had it in the past.
Really? No,
very strange. Yeah. That's the first time. You know what? I'll look at it and I'll send you an email if Yeah, because maybe
You
it's
should.
just like needs to be re-added. I'll figure it out.
Please
I
do
love that
let
song.
me know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's we always play that song live, and it's awesome to play live. It has this nice. It's like always this rhythm thing where you can just nod along the whole song, and it just has this, nice rhythm vibe thing going through it. I love playing that song live. It's awesome.
Good song, man. By the way, I've had almost 900 interviews. The only other person who answered that question, what's your favorite song you wrote, and said the favorite song I wrote is the song I'm working on right now, was Joe Satriani.
Oh,
yeah. It's only
good man.
Yeah, it's the only time I've heard.
He knows
that
what he's
answer.
talking about.
You and Joe, yeah. Hey, do you have a worst gig ever story? Like a funny worst gig ever story?
Oh man. Well, there was one gig, especially in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
We just released Multiple Stairs, our first album. We were super proud of it, and we had our whole tour thing going on and everything. And then we had our official album release show in Graz, in our hometown, right? At a club, and it would be like, our baby that we're presenting. It's finally done. Here it is. Let us play a few songs live. Hopefully, you'll buy it on the way out, and in our hometown, Graz.
Yeah.
And then we were there super early, to build up everything, and the show wasn't about to start in 5 hours or something. And then next to the venue, there's like this little bar thing. And then they had this happy hour 2-for-1 thing going on.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, at that time. And then everything, in my memory, everything just fades away, and I have actually no real memory of the whole show. But I heard,
God.
From what I've heard, it could have been worse. But the things I said in between were just, just nonsense or incoherent stuff, but somehow, thankfully, there was like this deeper Daniel guy that was still alive in there, and he would play the songs and sing the lyrics as good as he could.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that was embarrassing a little for yeah, but
that's so
in the
funny.
meantime, it's okay.
Yeah, but meanwhile, 2014, you were like what, 25?
Yeah,
that's about it. That's about
the
normal thing to do when you're 25.
Yeah, sure. No.
That's funny,
and then the next time we played at that club, they were like, "Yeah, but we should let Witchrider come in like 3 hours before. That's too risky. Let's have them come in 1 hour before or something." Yeah,
that's so funny. We just closed the bar outside.
Yeah, it isn't our fault.
Yeah, that's right. It's their fault. Temptations. Tell me do you know the expression desert island discs?
Desert island.
So desert island disc. What if I say what are your top 3 desert island discs? It means in theory, if you're on a desert island,
what take with you?
Yeah, top 3 albums you'd bring with you.
Okay. Top 3 albums. Well, a must is The Prodigy Invaders Must Die. That's a must. I think I would take Queen's The Stone Age Lullaby's Paralyze with me, actually. And now the third one, to balance and to even everything out, probably Radiohead or Tom York. Some album-wise, super hard to say there, but
yeah,
it would have a nice in total balance thing, I think, with the super hard Prodigy thing and the rock hard Queens, and then the very melodic atmospheric Radiohead thing. It would be a nice even mix to have on a desert island where music never changes.
Man, it's funny. I just I don't know why I was oblivious to Tom York's solo career. So now I realize he has all these records. So it's on my list here of catalogs to go down because I'm such a Radiohead fan.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into that. Tell me, Dan, 1 or 2 things you've done or one or two changes that you made that have had the biggest impact in your life?
Yeah, I read that question, but I couldn't think of anything really. Sorry.
No worries. Tell me the best decision you ever made.
The best decision. Oh yeah. But didn't I write it down here somewhere? Or what was I using? Let me check real quick. I wrote some notes down.
Oh, cool.
Because
one time I had a guest on the show and they answered all the questions and they sent them back. They sent them back to me.
Oh,
and I felt like I should have graded it or something. And I said to the person, I said, "Hey, are you anal?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm super anal. How did you know?" I'm like, "Just a whim."
What's anal?
Anal is like OCD.
Okay.
OCD, like very like compulsive. Like I got to get, gotta get this done.
I was thinking of a different anal.
No. Different meaning altogether.
Okay.
Not something I'd ask somebody either.
One of the best decisions I made, and it's not a important decision, but I love it, is I love to drink fruit juices like orange juice and apple juice and not soda pops and stuff like that, or sodas, but apple juice, especially apple juice actually. And we have we have quite a few farmers markets here in Graz, and there's one really close by at Kaiser Josef Platz, and they sell apple juice. Like a lot of it's like a farmers market. We have different farmers selling their goods, and there are a few of them there that sell fruits and vegetables, and a few of them have made apple juices, and those are amazing. And I switched to never buying any fruit juices in supermarkets again, but only from markets. Yeah, and the difference in quality. It's incredible. And then once I had I drink it every day, really, honestly, apple juice from farmers market with water. It's like this here. There
you go.
Half apple juice, half water. And then after, I think I did that for a few months straight, just from the farmer's market, and then it was closed, but I really wanted apple juice. So I went to the supermarket and got some package of some container of apple juice, and I couldn't finish it because the difference was just so, I hated it. It didn't have this apple taste to it, like. Yeah. When you get it from the farmer's market, I swear to you, you can smell the apple, the actual thing. And with the package container thing, it's gone.
Yeah, man, we try to shop local farmers.
It's just sugar and taste, but no real deal.
That was a fun answer, man.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah. Tell me what makes you happy besides farmer's market apple juice.
Well, I guess it's a very more of a classic answer. Making music, being surrounded by music and sounds, especially. Friends, loved ones. Being able to hang out and animals. Being around animals, except insects, though. I hate insects. But every other animal is it's fun to watch and to observe, and yeah, it's great.
How many cats do you have?
3.
Oh, that's cool. That's a normal amount. We have some cats, and then my wife became so enamored with it. She's instead of going to the pound to adopt a cat, she was like a ninja, and she'd like see these street cats and set up a cage and rescue them from the street.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, so we have, it was really cool. So we have like one of them, and the sister, my son took the brother, and then we rescued the mom, and she brought him back to it was really funny though. She just got all of a sudden really activist on that.
That's cool.
This is a tough question. What do you like and dislike most about yourself?
Well, I do take pride in being creative. I think, like not just limited to songs and writing music, but coming up with stuff. I don't know, with fun ideas and movie ideas and song ideas and art ideas and any kind of ideas. Really, I just love to have the feeling that I have a creative mind that has ideas, and it doesn't even have to be good ideas. Like I really enjoy ideas or songs that are so bad that they're already good again, or something like that, right? You know, sometimes I write songs that are in German. It's called Ballermann or Schlager. It's I don't even know how to translate it. It's like a traditional. No, it's not a traditional. Volksmusik would be traditional. No, it's like it's like kids music, but with very vulgar, grown-up lyrics and a shitload of techno to it. And it's usually just played at drinking festivals and mostly drinking festivals and party locations and stuff like that. So I wrote a song once, and it's called Der wichsende Kleiber, which would translate to, and I wrote it out actually, would translate to, because a Kleiber is a bird, a very specific bird, and it would translate to the masturbating nuthatch bird. And in German, it's der wichsende Kleiber. In German, it would be like, Pass auf, es ist der wichsende Kleiber hoch am Himmelsdach. And then it would have like bass to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It would be just an awful song with awful lyrics. But in some way, it just, it tickles my humor, my humor spot, that it's just super enjoyable to make that kind of music also. I never released anything yet. But maybe.
Well, I tell you what, if you release the masturbating nuthatch bird, please premiere it on this show. Because the title of that alone.
What the fuck is going on?
We'll get 1 million views, just the title alone. I got to write that down. I have to say, that's one of the most original creative ideas I've heard. The masturbating nuthatch bird. And see, here in this country, a nut is slang for like, when your balls are swollen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's the same thing, if that's where you came with the thing is, but this whole thing actually...
In Germany, it was just a random idea, but I saw when I translated it, it was like, oh, it's actually fitting.
Yeah, so this is actually pretty clever. Okay.
Coincidence, though.
Okay. Do you have any hobbies outside of music or interests?
Well, sound in general, really.
Mm-hmm.
I also do a lot of sound designing and working on movies and like animations and stuff, like especially with animations where you just have, the movement of the characters and the movie going on, but you don't have any sound yet. So because obviously the animations don't make any sound. So you need someone to have the sound of the footstep, to put the sound of the footsteps in there when a animation figure walks, or the birds, or the atmosphere, or a car driving by, or whatnot. And I really like doing like these kinds of Foley works, like recording sounds and then just trying to fit it into some music and movie creation thing. And that's really one of the things I really enjoy doing next to music is working with sounds, manipulating sounds, having just very plain sounds like from one string of a guitar, just one tone, going through a shitload of effects and filters and distortions, and just trying out how different components of sound manipulation sound, really, and then figuring out how to use it in a way that it can be enjoyed by people listening to it or watching it, and not be just random noises, basically.
So you're involved in licensing then?
Yeah, sometimes
in music licensing. That's really cool.
Not super heavily, but I do it from time to time. And there I really enjoy working on animations that involve things like ghosts or creatures that aren't real. So you have to come up with the sound, that how would they sound like, which depends.
That's super creative.
Yeah, it's super fun, which depends on the audience, right, later. what it's gonna sound. Does it have to be powerful and creepy? Should it be like friendlier ghost? Maybe if it's more for kids, right? And yeah, depending on the context, try to find the sound that matches it the most. I love it. It's awesome.
How did you get involved? Did you choose to be only involved with animations, or that's whatever you get your first project or whatever, it was just happened to be animations?
Yeah, the first projects were mostly animated, but it doesn't really matter. No, it doesn't matter really. It's just I was most involved with animations, so I picked this for an example. Yeah,
that's really cool. And Foley is like, just for people listening, Dan mentioned Foley. Foley is on-screen sounds, like you said, like a footstep or a gunshot or something like that, but there's not necessarily dialogue.
Exactly.
All right, coming to the end. Tell me the most fun thing you've ever done.
I don't know. It's the most fun thing I ever done. I have no idea, but it probably was when I was still younger, because things tend to be more fun when you're younger and experiencing it for first times.
Very true.
But I don't have a concrete story here. Sorry.
All right. So the last question, and thank you for your time. And I want to tell people where to find you and where to find Witchrider. Best advice you've ever been given, and who gave it to you?
Also, no idea about that one. I read it. I do have an answer for specific experiences that changed your life. Oh, did you ask me that actually?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay, but for that I have an answer.
Yeah.
And the other ones are a little harder. Also with mom and dad, it's tricky to think of something here. But yeah, if you want to talk about that.
Tell me a specific experience that changed your life or changed the way you think about things.
There's an Austrian comedian and actor. He's called Josef Hader. He's really, really famous in Austria. He's the best. I say comedian. Actually, it's cabaretist, which is above comedian. It's way smarter jokes, which go around few corners to get. It's also where Austrians very much differentiate between Germany and Austria. Like in Germany, we have a lot of comedy. In Austria, we have a lot of cabaret, which is, if you ask Austrians, above comedy. It's smarter. Anyway, Josef Hader had a program, it's called Hader Privat, where he would talk about his life growing up and have a lot of smart insights and philosophical things going on in there, and a lot of funny things to funny ways to talk about the whole thing. Anyway, in one of his programs, I think it was called Hader Privat, he said, "Das Leben verliert dadurch, dass wir es kennenlernen." And that means, translated, life becomes less, what would I say, meaningful, maybe not, but becomes, actually, let's just leave it by life, becomes less when you learn about new things and when you know new things about things. That's a very bad translation, actually. But it's about, in the beginning, when you listen to music and specific records, you have like moments in there which are just magic, and you have no idea how it happened or anything, but it blows you away, and it's amazing. And the more and more you get into that, learning how it happened and how it was done, and eventually you'll be able to recreate and make similar stuff. It loses all the magic, because the moment when you learn it, it's then it disappears and it becomes less interesting and it becomes less really
less
right?
mystical.
Yeah, something happens and just the curtain falls and it's you can see what's going on, and it shows the trick of the magician, kind of.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really smart insight, and I think I heard that quote from him in his program when I was like 15 or something. I just liked his voice back then, really. And I listened to a lot of his work. And this line just kind of stuck with me, and I never really understood what he meant back then because I was too young, actually. Sure. And now, when I'm learning about things and I'm really getting into how it happened and how things were created and how things work behind the scene, until they evolve into this finished product. It's true. It's true that it loses the thing that actually got you to get in there in the first place. It just it kind of goes away, and that's something I have to think about a lot, and I've been thinking about a lot lately, also in the COVID times. And it's totally true, and I'm it's a little hard to find other ways maybe to look at those things, then to still keep the magic. You still kind of remember somewhere in your heart, right? You had it, it was there, but it's once you learned it, it just, it became less. Yeah.
That's really good, man.
Thinking about it, I'm not sure yet if it makes it better, but at least it shows me that when I see something that really catches me, I would have to think twice about going more into depth into that feeling. Why did it happen? Because sometimes I think it's better to capture the moment and to have this kind of excitement going on than learning how it happened, than revealing the trick, really, or I don't know how you would.
You're revealing the trick. I think that's the
explain
perfect way of saying it.
Yeah.
I think that's great. It makes a lot of sense. I remember when I saw my favorite record is, and always probably will be, Dark Side of the Moon. And I remember when I saw the making of Dark Side of the Moon, and they're showing, how the tapes and how the people had voices. And it's funny that you mention it, because I didn't put it together at the time, but it did take, I wasn't really interested in that. I wanted to, like, these old Englishmen at the end. I didn't want to know where they came from, or it was really cool. So I really get that, what you're saying. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Did you see the Beatles documentary thing, Hardest Night, I think it was, about the recording?
I'm not
thing,
a Beatles guy. I know that's like sacrilege, but I'm more of a Stones. Stones or Beatles? Stones.
Okay, yeah, I'm Beatles, but I have to.
Most people are.
Yeah.
But go ahead, talk about it.
They're right. No, but
of course.
the documentation thing, it kind of killed the coolness of John Lennon, I think, because the way John Lennon was. I don't want to say presented, but because it was kind of just raw footage of the things happening there, it kind of killed the whole mystic coolness thing of John Lennon. At least what it had for me, let's say.
Yeah.
He was more of a annoying person, more of a
That's interesting.
I was missing the genius I was expecting, kind of.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure he was an awesome musician and everything, but it kind of killed that. It took it away a little bit. This magic John Lennon had about him, also the voice and everything. The voice is still awesome, but just when you see him in this very real thing, it's one of the moments I should have thought about before.
Well, I'm really glad you told me about this, because this is the kind of stuff I could pass on to my kids when they're wondering about something, and just tell them, hey, just wonder about it and enjoy that. Don't,
I mean,
don't look it up on Wikipedia.
I mean, I guess you have to experience it yourself to know, but I think sometimes it's wiser. It's just wiser to not get into that topic too much. Just enjoy the thrill you're having by watching it or listening to it.
And it's Josef, Josef Hader, Hada.
It's Josef Hader, Josef
Hader. Okay, great. Thanks. So if anybody's interested in that. Hey, man, first of all, I want to thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate your time. It's so cool that I haven't lost the mystery for Witchrider, even though I spent an hour and a half with it. So, because I've loved your band for many, many years, man. I hope you continue making wonderful music. Let me tell people where to find you. The band is Witchrider. I would love everybody to check them out. They're great rock and roll. Dan's a phenomenal songwriter, and everything is done. Engineering is perfect. I mean, it's very well put together records. The band, if you're in Europe, or if you're going to go to Europe, the band will be touring in the fall. Specific dates are on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find both. I think it's Witchrider Band. Again, it's Witchrider. The tour will be in England, UK, Belgium, Austria, Netherlands, and
it's mostly going to be in September. So it's
in September,
around the month of September, really.
Great, and so check that out. Also, we'll all be waiting, hopefully, for 2023, a new release. That would be awesome.
So
lastly, if you are in Austria, Dan is a teacher at a studio called Media Fabrik, which is Media Factory. This is like the most and last German words you're ever going to hear me say in this interview. This is one and done. In Graz, or if you want to go to Graz, and he teaches courses in music production, engineering, and sound design. And so if you're looking to learn from somebody, I would say he's a very good guy to learn from. Because he's not just, some people just teach stuff. He's actually doing it, and he's got a shitload of material he's put out, and it's all incredibly well produced. I mean, very well engineered. So check it out. Again, it's called Media Fabrik in Graz, and it's music production, engineering, and sound design. I'm sure you could look that up online and connect with the school and then learn from Dan. Dude, is there anything else I could promote?
I think you've done a good job, actually. I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thanks for the music, and please check out everything in the catalog is great, but check out the two albums. Just telling Dan, it's very rare. Like with maybe one exception on 2 albums, every song is 5-star for me, and maybe the other one's literally a 4-star. So Unmountable Stairs. No, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And Electrical Storm, 2 great records, and also the splits that they've done are really good as well. You could just look up Witchrider, and it'll come up on iTunes or wherever you listen to stuff. Yeah. Hey, man, thank you very much. Hang on one second. We'll wrap up. And I really appreciate your time. Really nice getting to know you. And I hope I hope you tour the States one time, man. Is that like realistic or not really?
I hope it is. But I can't give you any more insights on that. But I really hope that someday, yeah.
That would be wonderful, man.
It is on the bucket list.
Awesome. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Thanks very much for Dan Dorninger from Witchrider for spending time with us. Thank you for everything, man. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Dan, thanks for everything, my friend.
Bye.
Hey, was that okay for you?